You've done the mindset work, shadow work, somatic work, spiritual work, yet somehow the same patterns keep coming back, and you wonder, why isn't this actually working enough? In this video, I'll share one of the biggest reasons healing doesn't stick, and what's often missing to create real, lasting change. The key thing that connects the energy and all the mental, physical, spiritual plane, mind, thoughts, emotions, spirituality. So, this channel is about integrating all those parts, and something that affects all in many ways is identity. When you are doing mindset shift work, you may try to change your identity by forcing new habits and all of that. For some people, that may work. They may succeed on fake it till you make it, on just being delusional and embodying the version they want to experience. And because we may have heard successful stories like that so much, it feels like that's the norm and that would work to anybody in the same way, pretty much. So if you do the same and it ends up not working, you may end up feeling that there's something wrong with you. Let me tell you that there is nothing wrong with you. You might just be wired differently, that you cannot, in a way, fake to yourself in that way. Maybe because you are made in a way that if it's not true, if it really doesn't feel true deep inside, you just cannot. Or maybe it's because you have wounds, traumas that are so against it that you just can't. You just cannot override a nerve system that has learned for survival to be a certain way. And blaming yourself for being that way without even noticing why you are that way is just not a nice thing to do to yourself. So that's with mindset, right? And when it comes to feelings, it may look like, okay, just do shadow work, feel your emotions, and yeah, it's gonna be fine. But when you feel for a long time and still it hasn't changed enough, it may end up feeling like, when is it gonna end? Am I doing something wrong? I'm exhausted. I cried so much for so long. Why is it still here? And when it comes to spirituality, when you've been observing for so long, you get so good at just being aware, really. You can see the patterns coming out. You can see the patterns coming out, but you are aware. You can see the nerve system dysregulation playing out, and you can, even if you cannot stop it, you can be aware. So you get really good at observing, that it becomes even hard to really identify with a person. Yet, it feels like something is not embodied up. That something subtly might be bypassed. But you can't quite name it. You just know that there's something that is missing. So, in all of these cases, something that strongly affects is identity. In mindset work and shadow work, they may tell you, so for example, manifestation and shadow work, they may tell you, change your identity. Choose what you want to be and do whatever is required to be that identity. In spirituality, you may hear, be nothing. Just don't identify with anything, be nothing. In both cases, identity seems to be a thing. So let's look at what is identity and how is it playing out. The most crucial part when it comes to identity is that it is blind. It's as if you've been living with a name tag, transparent name tag. That is, for example, I am unwanted, I am unlovable. There is a root, there's a root name tag. And from that root name tag, there comes other tags. So this is when it comes to identities that are not serving you really, that are blocking you, that are making you feel, I'm suffering, So that's the tricky part, that you are not even aware what identity you are living from. Because most of the times, the identity you think you have, because that identity is not like, I am an overachiever, I am a people pleaser. It's not. It's not surfery things like that. It's really deeper, wounded root stuff, that very, very vulnerable stuff that feels like is existent. Life is threatened. It's very hard to see. So the way the identity shows up, as I said, transparent name tag. So you cannot see it, people cannot see it, but people can sense it, and you are living from that. What do I mean by living from that? For example, you have the transparent name tag that says, I am unlovable. If that's the name tag that you have, then it means that you are living the world, living in this world as I am Mr. or Mrs. You are living as Mr. or Mrs. Unlovable. So you have to live within those constructs. In other words, it means that you cannot do anything that doesn't fit the criteria of unlovable. Because if you do something that is out of it, that doesn't fit the criteria of unlovable, your nervous system thinks that you're gonna die. So it will push you back. You feel you're unlovable and somebody's actually loving you, you'll feel bad, you'll feel weird, you're gonna push it away. Or those people may barely show up and you feel like, see again. Nobody really stays. Whether it is because they don't come from that in the first place, they don't stay because they don't want to in the first place, or you push them away. The result is the same. And you're the one who keep attracting it. Because you're living from the name tag, transparent from that word, and you cannot get out of that. Because the ego thinks, the survival protector, aka ego thinks, if I allow anything out of that criteria that fits this identity, example, I'm unlovable, I'm gonna die. So it's very sticky, very, very rooted in the nerve system, very, very sticky. If you're living from a place like that, no matter how much mindset work you do, it's like it's gonna, anchor you back there. You're almost getting out. No, 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 come back. This is your safe place. Back, 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 back. You're almost going to succeed. This time is the strikes going better, better, better. No sabotage. Come back, come back. This is your safe place. I'm not gonna let you die. I'm not gonna let you die. I don't wanna die. Mrs. Ego, Mr. Ego. But that's how the nervous system is. The ego is. So, how can we work gently with it? Because it's about hugging, about embracement, about love. Because what is the root? Basic, most important. Lo is oneness, which is love, which is wholeness, which is the absence of division. The absence of division, the absence of non-acceptance, the absence of fighting, the absence of illusions and lies. If you could live in truth, we'll be integrated. But we, most of the times, are living from a lie that we are not even aware of. So, when that is not seen and integrated, you can feel your emotions, but since it's not touching that layer, you could end up feeling from that identity without noticing and ended up re-traumatizing yourself or even strengthening that victim identity. So when it comes to feeling, it is quite important to feel in a way that is more raw, not really from the identity, but what did you experience in that moment, that direct touch with that traumatic experience and you. In that scene, what did you experience? More than the idea of I was alive, la 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 la. And when it comes to spirituality, you can end up living from a place that is the identity of I am spiritual. So you're not only bypassing, which means that you are bypassing the wounded identity that you are living from, operating from, basically, with the spiritual identity. So it's like double mess. As a result, you end up feeling like, I feel calmer, but something hollow. In any of this, embodiment and true transformation is lacking. So what can we do instead? Look at the identity, find it, point it out, dismantle the lies because it exists. Basically, two reasons. One is it has a misconception about itself. So, lies, illusions, misunderstandings. That's one. You look at it, you really look at it, and you let your psyche, something, your body connect by just looking at it. You don't even have to try to understand it really strongly. It's just a moment that clicks, 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 and then it can shift. So that's one thing. Dismantle the lies. And the second thing is feeling the pain, the energy that is stuck in the body that couldn't finish the process. When you do these two things, the identity naturally changes, loosens. And yes, you may see many sessions of people that it may look like in a short amount of time they had a big transformation. But do you know what happens after? Do you actually know what happened after? Because many times a nervous system does require integration. And even if you dismantle the root wound and it loosens, many other wounds that it's been your coping strategy may come up. And it becomes easier to dismantle it, disentangle it, but it may still require some support. So when I firstly started, I thought, really? Can it be that fast? But although the way you perceive things could shift instantly, when it comes to deeper embodiment, it takes some time, especially when you want to cover a more fuller areas of your life. So the question is, what can we do to know this blind transparent label to begin with? Usually when you get coaching, and it may take actually thousands. So what I propose you instead, in case you really don't have access right now for that, I can help you do that. But if you want something more instant, although it may not have the same impact and support, if you just want to have that mental click and aha, and you feel like just knowing the information, you can by your own working with that, what would help is learning about your birth design. What I created is a mix of Western astrology, sidereal astrology, and human design. When I combine it all together and I see the birth design, it was incredibly accurate on how things actually turn out in my life. The painful experience that I experienced, the patterns, the limitations, the strength, everything, turned out it was predestined in a way. There's like a, it's like a blueprint, and we ended up living that because probably, well, not probably, but that is what the soul needed to learn in this life. So if you're interested, I can show you how it looks like. And also you can join my school community and you can learn more about details. And disclaimer, because this is about integration. It's not about selling dreams, you know. The disclaimer is that you can see identity, whether it's with a coach or using the birth charts or just noticing by your own, whatever it is. The pitfall to avoid is not overly identifying with that identity, because it's not about, okay, my blueprint says this, so now I only can do this and I cannot do that. Like limiting yourself in that way, it's something that you need to be careful because it's difficult. This is what usually happens. So you've been living through a certain pattern that you didn't know. Things keep happening over and over again and you didn't know. Then you see the structure of your blueprint of your soul, of the blueprint, all this experience of this person and this existence, and you're like, oh, now it makes sense, the whole story. Now this makes sense, why this experience, why this pattern. And now you feel like, oh, so it's easier to get attached to it. But that's the danger. Do not get attached to it. Because beyond all, what is the most important thing of this framework thing that I have of look, feel, and be? It's a be part. It's a be. This is the base. It's be. You are. Good, bad, no. It's just you are. Lovable, not lovable, wanted, not wanted, enough, not enough. None of that. You just are. That's non duality. That's awareness. That's actually observing. And the reason that we're trying to do this by also integrating the mind, the mindset, the thoughts, the memories, the body, the nervous system, the physical wounds, the emotions, is because you are a human being. For some good reason, you are a human being. And being a human being is beautiful. The experiences that this 3D life can offer you are beautiful. And you can experience it all beautifully. And also being realistically, most people cannot just embody their enlightenment state quickly and just I'm free and I'm just everything is flowing. Most people, they end up meditating, reading scriptures, listening to gurus for decades and still not embodying it enough, and ended up falling in patterns. So in order to have less places to fall, we want to clean up so that we don't have to, okay, this pattern happened again and I'm observing it again. So that you don't have to do that anymore, because that in and itself would not exist, would not happen. So you can move faster, farther. So I hope this made sense. And yes, I want to introduce Force to Flow community, where we explore and integrate the things in a practical way. Because the thing there is, if I just have to say shortly, it's like if doing these things separately, if having these knowledges, information would have been enough, you would have been integrated, healed in an embodied state, free by now. But if you are not, maybe something is not integrated enough. Maybe it is because you've been doing separately and kind of judging each other. But what if you can integrate it all? So that's what we are exploring there. It's not fluff, it's not positive thinking. I'm trying to make it practical and raw as possible. So if you're interested in exploring that too, I invite you there. I hope you have found this video interesting and most importantly, don't believe in anything I say. It's not about what I say or really anybody. It's about you. So you are everything. You are the universe. You know it. So directly experience by your own. Let the direct experience by your own be your guidance. Guru Guru.